Okay, so this has got to be fantastic. Now the world's become a global village, you could say.
It is, and it means that, you know, a student can become a powerful business person. Where it used to take the corporates, they had the power, the energy, they could write the 2,000 letters, post them out, you know, to those that were interested, buy in list, do all this sort of stuff. But now you can Twitter away to your heart's content, and you can be pinging thousands of mails boxes around the world in an instant.
Okay, well, you mentioned that, but does that mean that we're actually giving too much power to one individual?
No, because it's about the individual is, if their message is good and solid, then that's great. You know, it allows those people that have got a good message to be heard. Those that are using it for the wrong purposes will soon be found out and ignored.
Right, okay. Richard, what do you think? Do you think one person can be connected with too many people?
So I find that very difficult to answer. I haven't got an immediate idea on that one.
Yeah, okay, no problem. Faisal, what do you think? Can one person be, is there a problem with having too many interactions with too many different people?
There is a danger that people latch onto a new technology and become verbose. You know, like if you're having a conversation with someone, you read someone's body language and think, I better stop now and let them say something, or they're not as interested.
Right.
Electronically, you can't tell. And I have people who send me an email and say, I'd like to connect up with you. I say, that's fine. They don't know how busy I am. And half an hour later, when they've sent me 25 emails and they're all going into my read next year if I'm still alive bin,
Right.
they don't know.
You're right. Okay, so within this new birth of new technology, there's been an age gap as well that's brought about. Obviously, the younger generation are a lot more in touch with changes in technology. So what kind of problems does that arise? Do you think there is a gap between the younger people who are using technology and older people? For example, parents, you know, how does that affect that sort of relationship?
A business point of view, you know, it's great to be able to connect with lots of people because you decide whether you listen or not. You know, you choose whether you open up that email and read it and when you're going to do that. And so only those that really want to hear what you've got to say will tune in. So you might send 2,000 emails, but 200 might open it up because the rest are too busy in their own worlds today to be interested.
Okay, Richard, as a psychologist, how do you think technology is actually changing the family structure that we have at the moment? How does it change the relationships within the family?
It doesn't necessarily change the relationships, but it's a challenge because there is a divide in knowledge between younger people who are learning about changes the moment they become available, and people of my generation who have to work quite a lot harder to find out what's going on. And I guess the challenge for the relationship is always the same. You need an open line to your children. Your children must have an open line to you. If you know what each other are about, then there aren't problems.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, let's move back to our audience. Do you think there is an age gap, and how does that affect you? Are there any views on the back? Yeah, if maybe you'd like to say something.
I actually do think there is an age gap whilst using a computer even and going on the internet. For example, someone that is like maybe in their 40s or 50s might not be able to use the internet to the extent that we can, might not be able to grasp the knowledge from the internet because they haven't learnt about it in school. Like in school we've been told how to find the information, what to look out for in terms of making sure the information you found is useful, and that knowledge has not been given to someone that is older than us because they obviously haven't learned about it.
So do you think the youth generation actually has an advantage over older people in society?
Yeah, because if we're learning about it, it's like common to know about it now. We have to learn it to actually survive in the world now, in a way.
Okay, let me move back to the panel. Do you think that's correct? Do you think the younger generation actually has an advantage, say, over yourselves?
There are obviously far more young people are far more tuned in to the technology,
Right.
but as you get older, you tend to get wiser because you've got more experience about other things. So how you use that technology can then be fine-tuned. So the guys tend to use it for social stuff, whereas those that are older who choose to tune into it, you know, it's a choice thing, and a lot of older people choose not to tune into it. But those that do tune into it will use it to assist themselves in their business or in their social or in different ways.
Okay, so do you think that causes some sort of conflict? Faisal, what do you think? Within our younger audience and all the users of the
There's a
internet?
difference in understanding. You see, even if I go back 10, 15 years in business, we didn't have mobile phones, we didn't have the internet. When you wanted to communicate with someone, you'd find a phone and communicate. When you wanted to be contacted, you'd say, I'm now at this point in this hotel on this number, you can call me. Now we're in an always connected world where people are carrying internet phones, and 24 hours a day they might have this thing running away. I'll give you an example. My mum, I bought her a mobile phone and I said, now we can always stay in touch. She used to, when she went out, she used to switch it off.
Right.
And she'd put it on when she wanted to call someone, but then she'd turn it off again to preserve the battery. So she had a different concept of always on communications to us, and that's...
Okay.
There is a difference in, people who haven't been used to 24-hour communication struggle with some of that.
Richard, let me turn to you. I mean, the NHS is embracing technology. How is it affecting how doctors actually treat their patients, and what's the future?
I'd go back to the point you were saying earlier about people's expectations of each other. So I think you do need to carefully qualify your expectation of response from other people. And interesting to hear the gentleman talking about using Skype and telephone. Even with telephone, you can't get as much non-verbal communication. You can't read the state of mind, the state of fatigue, the state of willingness or interest of the other person. Those are crucial skills that you need to develop. And I see people, in the great raft of emails I receive each day, some people are very good at checking out within the email how you're feeling about responding to it. Others are curt, blunt. They expect you to respond immediately, and they're irritating. I will respond to those much later. As the gentleman said, in 25 years, if I'm still alive, box. The social skills really matter, and they have to be matched and developed in the new medium as well.
Right, okay, so as a psychologist, do you think we'll ever get to a stage where you could actually treat patients over the internet?
It's already begun
Right.
in psychotherapy, and I believe that is very successful for some people. It's got its pros and cons, of course. Some people actually find that self-treatment with a computer-generated program is actually easier and more effective than having to make the great trek to come and see a psychotherapist. With other situations, you really would want to meet face-to-face.
Right, okay. Faisal, what do you think is the future of the internet in terms of IT and business?
I think it's a tool, but I think you've got to remember it's only a tool. And the danger is people who grow up thinking that's the only way to communicate are losing something. I'll give you an example of that. When you do business, let's take a simple example. You go on holiday and you go shopping, let's say in Morocco or in Spain or wherever, and you want to buy something and you see the price is there, you look at the face of the person who's selling, he looks at your face and you haggle.
Right.
Now there's an art to that, there's an art to buying something. And actually while you're doing that, you'll say, I want that for less price, and the person will try and value sell to you and say, actually, what are you using it for? And then they'll sell you something totally different. With the internet, you don't get that. You get, this is the item, this is the price. If you want it, put it into your cart, and then tell us how you're going to pay for it. And it's just deadened that whole experience.
Okay,
It's made it more mechanical.